OG. All right, defense in the UFL. One of the big things that creates a skill gap in the UFL because, as many people, if you've played the game, you know it's much more challenging than EAFC simply because in EAFC the spacing is terrible, and while the spacing is terrible, you also are rewarded for clicking off of your defender and allowing your AI to tackle the ball. You actually have a much better chance of winning the ball if you do that in EAFC, which, if the AI is tackling the ball, there's no skill in that. You're simply letting the computer do the work so you can then start an attack. It's nonsense, and that's why many people, one of the many reasons people don't like EAFC. UFL, on the other hand, if you click off your defender and try to let your AI do the work, you're going to get ate up and you're going to get scored on. You have to use the second man press, and you have to constantly be switching players manually to move them into passing lanes while then controlling the player that needs to make the tackle so you can win the ball back. Otherwise, if you don't do that, not only are you not going to get the ball back, especially against a more quality player, but you are going to get sliced up and scored on. So there's a ton of different formations out there, but in particular, the video you're watching, a ton of different defensive clips. This is 5-back defense. The main reason I like it, which many people say, oh, it's a rat formation, it's a 5-back. They got that from EAFC. The 5-back in UFL, you can beat it. It's just extremely difficult, which is why wouldn't you want to choose that then? No different in real life. But where it helps the most in UFL is because the wide play, the long switches in this game, which you see in many of these clips, are outrageous, right? There's a ton of space out there. In a 4-back, you can go pressure out wide, but if you have a team that's going to play out wide and play back in the middle, it will create holes. If you have a team that's going to just cross from out wide, many times in a 4-back, your defenders won't lock on a player in the middle, particularly at the near post, and you'll get scored on. So what I like about the 5-back, which as you see here is a 4-back defensive clip, the same concept, manually switching players, manually moving players, but in the 5-back, you can get out to the wing quicker with your wing backs and still have cover in the middle. So it's just a great defensive formation, but in the UFL, there's still plenty of attacking options. As you can see in these clips, once I win the ball and get it up, I have plenty of players making forward runs. I have my offensive style or attacking style on fast attack, whether that's a reason or it's just great runs in the UFL, just based on how the game's made, or a combination of both. I still have plenty of options while having the best defensive coverage. But whether it's a 5-back or not, you still, as you can see in these clips, have to manually do the work, right? You do have more coverage. There's not as many holes, but, in the clips you see where it is a 4-back, it's still the same idea where you have to manually cover the passing lanes and manually make a tackle. Another thing I strongly suggest, be aggressive. Now, that doesn't mean diving in, right? Doesn't mean run right at the player, try to commit to a tackle, and he can go right around you. It means get right on him, right? Cover the space, and then when he makes his decision, he'll feel rushed. If you stay laid off of him, you're going to run into situations where they just have too many options, and you're going to miss a chance to win the ball. So be aggressive, close on the space, much like real life, and force them into a mistake, right? Then, if they take too big of a touch, or they take a little too long, or they try to cut a certain direction and you can pounce, then you can get in and make a tackle. But the main thing is just a ton of manual switching, a ton of moving your players where you want them to mark passing lanes or to get closer to a mark, and then also being patient but being aggressive, right? Being patient in the sense that you don't run right in and try to tackle, but you close the attacker down, and then you patiently wait for your chance to pounce on the ball. Sometimes you won't even need to make a tackle. Just that closing the space down alone sometimes will rush them into making a pass. And if you're good at manually switching off of the defender on the ball and you're good at covering passing lanes, and if you're good with second man press as well, maybe putting two players in the way of the man on the ball, or that player just naturally marks a passing lane, you're going to win the ball. Then you just quickly get it into your attackers and you go from there. Simple as that. I'm in Ruby right now, so I'm not the best player in the world at this game by any means, but I do know a fair amount, and I feel like these tips can absolutely help anybody in defending. So go ahead and give it a shot, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you.